Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Simisola Adigun. The suspensions and counter-suspensions imposed by rival members of the People's Democratic Party's National Working Committee in the previous week have been revoked by governors of the party. The chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, who is also the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, announced this at the end of a two-day meeting. Recall that the Umar Damagum-led NWC had suspended the party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, and National Legal Advisor, Kamaldeen Ajibade, for alleged abuse of office and insubordination. In response, Ologunagba and Ajibade also announced the suspension of Damagum and the party's National Secretary, Samuel Anyanwu. The crisis got to a head when the Ologunagba group announced the party's national treasurer, that is, Yayare Mohammed, as Damagum's replacement. However, the chairman of the PDP's Governors Forum, Bala Mohammed, explained that the decision to broker a truce was reached after far-reaching consultations with the representatives of the NWC, the party's National Assembly Caucus, and the Board of Trustees. The governor says discussions will continue in Ondo State, where they will attend the official flag-off of the PDP's governorship campaign. Well, let's discuss the internal crisis rocking the PDP. Political affairs analyst Dayo Akintobi is my guest on the program. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing time. Now, looking at the recent developments in the PDP between the governors, the NWC, and the BOT rising from the crisis, are you convinced that the party is divided into factions like it was earlier announced?
Yes, without a doubt, the PDP is a house divided against itself at this time, primarily because the PDP is not used to being in the opposition. I mean, the bottom line is, since 1999, for 16 continuous years, the PDP was the party in power, and they got used to playing the role of leader. So to sort and find themselves with the shoe on the other foot where they're in the opposition, they're not used to that situation. They're not used to being the underdog, and they've not learned how to manage it well. But I think the genesis of the crisis came in 2015 when Atiku Abubakar ran against Muhammadu Buhari and lost. After that loss, Atiku essentially dropped out of sight. I hear he moved to Dubai, and he played no active role in politics or even in the PDP. So the vacuum that was created was filled by Governor Wike. He funded the party from 2015 through the 2019 elections. He was one who administered the party, and so his stature within the party grew. So when 2023 elections came up, of course, he tried to have his way, and he more or less anchored his premise against the agreement of the governors that the presidency would rotate to the south. By Atiku having run for the nomination of the PDP, he violated a covenant that the PDP governors, including Wike, had all agreed on, that presidency would rotate to the south after 8 years of having been in the north. That was the beginning of the crisis. Although some people will say, well, when Wike was being considered for VP by Atiku in 2023, he didn't complain then. That he started complaining after Okowa was chosen, so that his beef right now, or his annoyance right now, is superficial and is hypocritical. But the bottom line is there was an agreement that power would rotate to the south, and the PDP violated that. So there were some people who took the moral high ground within the PDP to say they will not be party to that injustice of having had 8 years of leadership in the north under Muhammadu Buhari. That was where the big division began. So you have Wike and the people in his camp, who are the ones who are now backing the acting chairman, Damagum. You have another camp that involves Yari, who is also another factional chairman of PDP at the moment. You also have another faction that involves Dele Ologunagba, who is immediate past spokesperson for the party. So the party is divided more than in 3 places. The governors have been sitting, the 13 governors of the PDP have been sitting for the last few days, and I'm hearing that they are coming up with a resolution where They have cancelled all suspensions and said revert to the status quo. We're going to solve this as an internal family matter. Let's see how it plays out in the next day or two.
Well, as it stands, many of the PDP members, including chieftains now, are calling for Atiku Abubakar, that's the party's 2023 presidential candidate, to step down, you know, and allow someone else to stand as the party's flag bearer come 2027, saying that it is the solution to this crisis. And also, yes, on Wike's grudge, that's the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory by extension. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
The party has not played the role of opposition very well. They seem to not be very well versed. I mean, they've been used to being at the helm of affairs. So no government is all bad, but no government is all good either. So it can't be possible that every single thing the APC has done is bad. But the PDP, as an inexperienced opposition, anything the APC tries to do, they stand up and they criticize. So nobody is believing this, their opposition anymore. One thing the government does is what Nigerians call bad belly. They are showing a sense of the fact that they are just arguing for arguing's sake, not because they really believe that those things are bad. And so Nigerians don't pay much attention to PDP as the opposition. They don't take them as a serious party, as a serious opposition party. And then they now have all this infighting among themselves. So I think part of the big problem of the PDP was the 2023 elections. Remember the something 5 that Wike spearheaded, and there were 4 other governors. There was Makinde of Oyo, there was Autumn of Benue, I think there was Ikpeazu from the southeast. There were 5 governors who went against the party in terms of his presidential candidate, and they roped in with the APC presidential candidate, and they essentially worked for him, which more or less should be anti-party activities anyway. But you see that they haven't been able to do anything about Wike. They can't suspend him. They can't expel him from the party, because in the intervening years when Atiku didn't spearhead leadership of the party, Wike stepped in. And so many see him as a savior of the party, that is on his account that the party still exists today. So nobody has the guts to call him to order, because during the time when he was funding the party, he was seen as the Messiah. He was the savior of the PDP. So you not tell him that you no longer want him because he's working with the APC, especially when he hasn't abandoned the PDP. So this is the issue. I think part of the resolution of this crisis involves calling all, you see, because everybody is a power center within the PDP. Atiku is his own power center. Bode George is his own power center. Dele Momodu spoke up, like look at Fayose spoke yesterday. Fayose said the PDP is dead. Former Ekiti governor, Ekiti governor Ayo Fayose, he said PDP is dead. Atiku should retire from politics for good, because he'll be 81 years old by the time the next election comes up. Well, David Momodu responded to him yesterday and disavowed all of what Fayose had to say. So there's internal rancor. Of course, in spite of the fact that we're all one party, we're all one family, we're supposed to all have one ideology, there will still be differing opinions even within a political party. But there's too much divisiveness in the PDP. And the only way to do it is for everybody to sit down around the table, resolve their policies. I think the first step should be they should not allow Atiku to run in 2027, because power must remain in the South for the next 8 years to 2031, because the North did 8 years from 2015 to 2023. And the gentleman's agreement, part of what is holding our fragile unity together, is this gentleman's agreement that power will rotate from the North to the South. So as long as the North has done it for 8 years, the South must be allowed its own 8 years. So the first step to the problem is to get Atiku to agree to step aside, not run in 2027. If he feels like he's still viable in 2031, when the thing is going to rotate back to the North, if he feels like he still wants to run, then that's his prerogative. But 2027, the PDP should be allowed to present a Southern candidate. I think that will be the beginning of the healing process.
Well, since the crisis began and escalated, some well-known figures in the PDP, the likes of Bukola Saraki, Peter Odili, and even Atiku Abubakar have remained quiet. I mean, one would expect that they should have intervened long before now and be a leading voice for reconciliating all feuding parties, or rather factions, should I say, in the PDP.
Well, the thing I think is that basically Wike has hijacked the party from all the party elders, because like I said, between 2015 and 2023, all these people you are mentioning were very quiet. Well, 2015 to 2019, Bukola Saraki was in the Senate and he was running the Senate as an opposition to Buhari's first term, I believe. So the PDP was still vibrant then. But by and large, from 2019 to 2023, the PDP was in Wike's hands, and he more or less erected the structure around himself. And he's the first to be, he's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. He erected the structure around himself. So he basically put all these other people out to pasture. Bukola Saraki, Peter Odili, they're all quiet because they don't have much of a say, at least not on a national level, for the PDP any longer, because when they were needed to step to the plate, they were nowhere to be found. So how will they now take on Wike at this point in time, when Wike is the one who has made the bones for the party in the last 4 to 6 years? So they're quiet because they are no longer the power centers.
Mr. Akintobi will continue this conversation after this short break. Do stay with us. The program will return shortly. Welcome back. We're still discussing the PDP political crisis, and political affairs analyst Dayo Akintobi is still my guest on the program. Thank you very much, sir, for staying with us. Now, as we speak, the PDP governors say they have brokered a truce and nullified the many suspensions that flew around lately. However, the decision on Umar Damagum's suspension as acting chairman of the party remains somewhat deadlocked. Is it likely that another crisis will resurface owing to this?
Well, yes, because remember that Damagum is just a proxy. Really, this fight is between the Wike faction, the Atiku faction. Damagum is just caught in the middle, and Damagum is being supported by Wike. He's a Wike appointee. Wike handpicked him. And like I said, Wike is the power behind the party now. So anything that involves Damagum being suspended, Wike will rise up against it, and he will deploy all of his muscle and his financial resources to retain Damagum in power. The word now is that Damagum must retain power until December 2025, which is still a year and a half away, until when they have the party's convention, before they can now go through the process of selecting a new party chairman. That's what one part of the party is saying, is that if we want to follow our constitution, Damagum must remain until next year. You can't remove him now. So those who are towing that line, there's nothing you can tell them that they will accept. And like I said, that's Wike's faction. I don't know how they will resolve that issue. The way I see it, it's quite likely that Damagum may end up serving out his tenure. But there's an unsavory development to this. I heard him yesterday saying that the Yari section, who have claimed to have suspended, another factional chairman who have claimed to have suspended Damagum, they've taken over Wadata Plaza, which is the headquarters of the PDP in Abuja. And Damagum is saying, I'm going to have you arrested and locked up and put in jail. And I think to myself, wait a minute. This is a family matter now. This is brothers against brothers. It's even a civil matter. I don't like this trend in Nigeria of us using police to intimidate, harass, and exploit weaker people. The big men in Nigeria use police civil matters relating to, say, defamation, say, landlord tenants, say, financial dispute, things that should be resolved in a civil court. Because you are a big man and you have money, you call police, you arrest the person you have a dispute with, you lock them up. That is unconstitutional, is illegal, and it violates human rights. So for a party chairman or an acting party chairman to be threatening that we use police to arrest his party members because they have a political dispute. The political dispute is a civil matter, not a criminal one. Nobody has been accused of stealing money. Nobody's been accused of assaulting anybody. Nobody's been accused of a crime. Why will we now be saying you use police to arrest them and lock them up if they don't vacate your party headquarters where every party member has the right to go? So I think our civil contract, our social contract among each other is breaking down slowly. If because I have the resources to be able to marshal the apparatus, the coercive apparatus of government, that is the police, because I have the resources to be able to marshal that, I should begin to use it to oppress my fellow party members or my fellow citizens or whatever. It's unconscionable, and I don't agree with that.
At this point, there's also the question of who will stand as the party's flag bearer for the 2027 presidential elections and other elections at that time. How serious would it get if the internal squabbling is not resolved amicably, to the satisfaction of all persons involved in this crisis?
I think it can be resolved because, first of all, let's remember that PDP is actually a formidable party. Despite all of the rancor and division and the problems, PDP is still a major party. It has 13 governors. It has a good number of senators and House of Rep, and it has 16 years of experience under its belt. So I don't think PDP is just going to put its tail between its legs and run off into the good night. I don't think so. I think that it has a solid foundation. I think these leadership squabbles will be resolved ultimately because the party has a history. Remember, PDP evolved out of like minds. Unlike the APC, there was a marriage of strange bedfellows. 5 different legacy parties: ACN, CP, AMPP, part of APGA, and New PDP. 5 parties came together to form APC. They are all divergent ideologies, different values, and they still managed to make it work. So what are we to now say about a party that evolved out of like-mindedness and togetherness? They will make it work. The PDP will, because they're all like-minded people and they came together under the same ideology and the same objective for Nigeria. So I think they are too strong and have too much history behind them to just wither or collapse. I think they will resolve their issues because the major players are all too invested in the party. The major players are too invested, both financially, spiritually, emotionally. They're too invested in the party to watch it sink and die. So I believe one way or another, common sense will prevail. I think, like I said earlier, the easiest, most straightforward way is for the party to pick a southerner in 2027 to carry its flag. That, of course, will nullify Wike's objection immediately. And all the other people went with Wike to support Asiwaju because the reason they put forward was that they had a gentleman's agreement that power would rotate. So if you now open it up and say, we are reserving the presidential slot for a southern candidate in 2027, then officially Wike, Makinde, Autumn, Ikpeazu, all those people, you've already eliminated their objection. So theoretically, they have no grounds and no grounds with which to object anymore. So they should fall in, support the party, bring the party back up to where it needs to go. I think the party has potential. It has 13 governors now. I don't think it's beyond possibility for the party to win about another 5 or 6 states and be almost at par with the APC in terms of the number of states that it is controlling. So PDP is not a paper tiger. It's not a paper tiger at all. It is a formidable party that has wide membership, nationwide coverage and recognition, 16 years of experience, and many heavy hitters. So let's not write PDP off yet. I think they will come back and surprise us.
Finally, let me ask you, what are the chances of the PDP, in your opinion, what are the chances of the PDP to reclaim its place as a strong opposition that it's supposed to be, against the APC come 2027?
PDP doesn't know how to play opposition politics, and they haven't tried to learn. They are still smarting from the fact that they are out of the power at the center. So they are not used to playing opposition politics, and it's not sitting well with them to play opposition politics. So how well will they play it in 2027? Well, let's not jump the gun and say they'll be in the opposition in 2027. We don't know. How do we know that they will win in 2027 and become the party in power? We don't know. But at the moment, all the signs are not good in terms of them playing the opposition well. They are not playing it well. If they put their house in order and they have a unified common ground where there's harmony, where it's devoid of rancor, they may begin to pick up and do the things that will bring them back into national reckoning. Because if the opposition is playing its role and playing it well, then the populace will begin to look at it with favor, because what it is doing is holding the party in power to account and pointing out its flaws. So when the next elections are coming, the person who's been telling you everything that's being done wrong and is also proffering solutions as to what should be done correctly, chances are you may decide to try that person out if you're not satisfied with what the government in power is doing. So being in the opposition provides a great opportunity if you know how to use it well. So let's hope the PDP knows how to use it well. We'll see what happens in 2027.
Well, as the most formidable opposition to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, the PDP must put its house in order, to regain its position as that formidable opposition ahead of the 2027 general elections, just as you have said. Political affairs analyst Dayo Akintobi, we really appreciate your time with us on the program. Thank you very much. But that's how much you can take on this episode. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.